And we are live, Martin in the Philippines from Real Talk Lifeline. So, welcome to the live. So, this is real, raw, and authentic. Tonight, what I want to do is to share the best lessons from Stutz. So, what is Stutz? It's a Netflix documentary. So, most of the live, I'll be sharing my screen. So, let me share my screen here. Here we go. Here we go there. So as you could see, if you could see my screen now, Stutz. This is actually a recent Netflix documentary released just last November this year, and it's about Jonah Hill. So he's the actor, the comedian, and he has conversations with his therapist. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna be sharing my notes tonight, and I'll be sharing with you my best lessons. It's gonna be like a walkthrough. So, quick backstory. Let me just double check if I'm back here. Yes, hope you could see my screen. Experimenting here with StreamYard. There we go. All right, perfect. So, quick background. I watched Stutz just last night with my brother, and it's 1.5 hours. You can see here. Uh, we watched it late, so at around 11 p.m. It crossed over to the day. So today, December 30, 2022, that's Friday, I'll be sharing with you my best lessons, which is this. So I already uploaded it in my journaling album. So let's get to it. So I shared my what I did was when I watched the movie or the Netflix documentary, I had a notepad, pen, and I was writing down these notes. All right, so let's get into it. Stutz, what are the best lessons? A Netflix documentary filmed by Jonah Hill, again, released just last November this year, so that's just a month ago. So why did Jonah Hill do this? Why did he make a documentary or a film about this? It's actually to expose ideas of his therapist, Phil Stutz, that's his name, and he wanted to present his tools. So the tools, so I'm already going through it over here, as you can see. The tools, these are this. This is something that can change your state where that won't be your mood forever. So I'm gonna just insert some stuff here because people who are into personal development or who have gone into this, some of this might seem familiar. If this is new to you, this is very helpful for someone who's just going through anxiety, depression. Maybe you're just living your life in quiet desperation, looking for answers, and people you talk to, they just can't seem to relate. They don't know what you're going through. And then here in the Philippines, therapy is still very taboo. It's not that common, unlike in the US, again, where Jonah Hill, Phil Stutz are based, or other first world countries wherein mental health, all this stuff is already um, more acceptable or more developed. So Stutz, his tools are very different. Jonah Hill loves sharing this because other traditional therapists who just prescribe meds, all that stuff, I prefer this one. So let me share with you the best lessons. So anything that changes your state, I'm already remembering this guy. So if you're familiar with this guy, Tony Robbins, again, that's all he's about, like changing your state. So he's also known, or he calls himself a practical psychologist. So let's just get back to Stutz. What were his methods? So his tools, he uses cards. When you watch the Netflix documentary, Stutz also writes or he draws certain things on, they look like blank index cards or card paper like that, and then he draws certain things. Some of the stuff I drew as well, so you will see where he turns big ideas into simple images, and I'll get into that also. So Jonah Hill said, if it worked for me, it might work for others. This is the reason why he's sharing these tools with other people as well. Just so you know, since I watched it last night, crossed over to today at midnight already, I uploaded. Let me go back to that. So I'm gonna come back to the notes. Don't worry, guys. So I uploaded. I made this post around 4 going on 5 a.m. I already posted this, and then I posted my journaling notes. Pardon, my journaling notes around 5 a.m. So I posted it here. I also made stories. Tried posting it on Instagram. So it's also here on Facebook, my stories. So 24 hours, you get to see that. And I already got some positive feedback. Some people were saying, at least two. One person said, your notes, so, it made an impact. The other one was like saying free therapy. So what this live um, is I'm just walking through the notes with you, because some people who read these notes, you could check it out on my profile, on Facebook. You could check it out on my Instagram. It's there. So I'm just walking through and explaining it even deeper, so it might help. By the way, Phil Stutz, the therapist of Jonah Hill, he was he has Parkinson's. He's had it for years already, and there was a scene where he had to take his Parkinson's drugs. You could see like his hand would be shaking like that. So that kind of hit me also on a deeper level, because that's Parkinson's is also considered, I believe it's like a dreaded disease, because it affects your quality of life, your function. And Jonah Hill said the hardest thing for me is getting out of bed. So, but for a different reason. So I actually could relate to Jonah Hill. If you notice my counting my blessings, even just getting up, that's already a hard thing for me to do. I count that as a win. So what else? What did Phil Stutz say? His tool is it's about when he says possibility, when you change a person's state, it's not some bullshit like, hey, you can do this motivational BS. You really have to feel it. You really have to feel the possibility, the feeling that you can change now. So what happened was, a lot of therapists, when he was doing his work, Studs, his colleagues were even saying, "Don't you dare," because Stutz was already saying, "We have to do something now. Otherwise, these people, the patients, will just be coming back to therapy again and again, and nothing's gonna change." So that might sound like, oh, that sounds familiar, right? So Stutz is very different. This is why Jonah Hill is sharing his tools. So you have to feel it, and then you can feel that you can change now. If you follow my journey, you could get some ideas like the ice baths. I've been doing that since last year. Uh, T. Harv Eker. So this guy, when I took Mr. Quantum Leap himself. So this guy, when I took his first seminar, like the Millionaire Mind Intensive, he lets you break an arrow using your throat. And then Tony Robbins, I haven't done it yet. It's in my bucket list. He lets you do a fire walk. So you actually have to feel it, as in really in your body and your emotion, that you could change now. That's how you transform and break through. So I'll go up here first. There are the only thing, or if there's one thing that you can work on first initially, this is like the first card or drawing that Stutz made. He calls it your life force. So your life force, he draws this triangle. So there's three levels. The first level is your body. So you just work on that first. The next level is people. And then the third level up is yourself. When you work on your body, Stutz mentioned that that's already 85%, 85% of the work that will affect everything else is the majority. So him, it's getting out of bed. Some people, he would even do push-ups. So for him, since he has Parkinson's, his body would literally tighten up, and doing push-ups, exercise, is what would actually loosen his body. So some people, you could take a cold shower, again very practical, or you could just do it at home. Don't turn on the water heater. It's December, it's cold. Some people, they actually have ice baths, so they buy ice. You have a chest freezer like that. Yoga, anything to get your body exercising in motion. 85% already will change your life. So a lot of therapists don't talk about that. So Jonah Hill was already like saying, "Wow, just that alone, right, um, would change your life." The next one is people. So this one hit me. Why? What happens when you're usually depressed or anxious? People go into isolation. This is very, very relatable for me, homebody, introvert, like that. So that person, when you make an effort, it could be anyone. It could be a stranger, random person, a person who's not that close to you. It's okay. Why? That person, that one person, actually represents the whole human race. And Stott said, whether you believe it or not, that will already have an effect on you. It already will have an impact on you. Then the last level is work on yourself. So a lot of this, as we go through this, actually is going to be that if you discover things about yourself, so you're going to hear terms later on like part X, the shadow, uh, a lot of self awareness. So that's the third thing that you could work on. Practically already, just working on your body, this is a more recent, that's already 85% of the work. Just exercising, um, again, those suggestions earlier. So next, part X. What is part X? Uh, this one is he explains part X as the judgmental part of you. It wants to block your evolution. It's the voice of impossibility. It creates primal fear. It's like the devil talking. Classic part X. And this one reminded me because I've been taking personal development courses since 2018. This reminds me, T. Harv Eker would call this the false self. And then when I took Tony Robbins too, this one is he would call it like the lower self or the ego. Maybe that's like the most familiar term that you would hear. So it says here you can't get rid of it and you actually need it to grow. T. Harv Eker, I'm just adding other lessons that I've learned. T. Harv Eker, what he calls like the ego, he calls that the survival mechanism, or that's the purpose of the ego. It's actually for survival. It's not necessarily bad, totally. It actually helps you just survive. That's pretty much it. Now, it aligns. It also blocks your evolution, or it has fear because it just wants to preserve yourself. So part X is not necessarily bad, but it also limits a person. So this one is very interesting too. The difference of part X and the shadow. I saw this in the background while watching the documentary. You might miss it. So he explains the shadow later on. And the shadow, I'm just gonna jump a bit. The shadow, I realized the part that many people disown or want to hide from the world to see, right? The shadow can actually be good. So that's why I kind of noted this the difference of part X and the shadow. So a little jumping ahead advanced, but yeah, the shadow sometimes it completes or liberates you. So it's not necessarily the same as part X. Next, three aspects of reality: pain, uncertainty, and constant work. So this one was new to me when I watched this Netflix documentary, Jonah Hill's film, Pain, Uncertainty, and Constant Work. So, what is this? Like, some people aren't aware, they don't have that awareness that, oops, okay, let me charge. So, again, this is live, this is raw, unscripted. So, let me charge, and we're good. So, pain, some people think they can avoid it. So, it's just a reality of life. Uncertainty, this is actually what I'm going through right now. My career, I actually don't know what's gonna happen. 8 years in the life insurance industry, years ending. We have metrics, retention to hit. I actually don't know what my future is gonna be. Uncertainty, that's actually uh, a part of reality also that we live with, and constant work. So that's another reality check for me. So again, constant work, not necessarily through your job or anything, but hey, I've been working for years on myself, for going on 5 years. So it's also another reality of life. Page two. So before I flip on to page two, let me just go check back. Okay, anyone? All right, so we're good. We're good. So page two. What's next? I'm gonna blitz through this as fast as I can. So watch the documentary if you can, so you get it through your own eyes, right? Just sharing with you the best lessons. Next part, how can I talk about of making a film about being vulnerable when I'm not being vulnerable myself? So Jonah Hill, um, earlier, like almost halfway through the film, he says that, and I truly believe that. Stutz tells him, "You don't know what the fuck is gonna happen." Your vulnerability, that's what happens when you do that. Just like what I'm doing right now. I don't know if anyone is going to watch this live, like while it's streaming. I don't know if anyone's going to watch the replay, but your vulnerability is your driving force. So I truly believe that. That's like the undertone or the underlying thing, because the way the film was made, like the vulnerability, when you watch it, there, you will feel it. You will get it. I'm just doing my best to share the lessons in my own way. So there's my relationship with you, that's Stutz and Jonah Hill, and the power of the tools. So they're guided by that. You can't move forward without being vulnerable, and I truly believe that. 2014, again, long story short, for me, went through a 9 year relationship, the breakup, deactivated my Facebook account for a year. When I opened up, it was like a leap of faith. It was like a suicide jump, social suicide, family suicide. I just had to reveal to my family, like to the world, who I really was, what I was going through. And then Stutz says this thing, which is, I felt was reassuring. The worse it is, the better it is. So for him, literally, when he writes the cards, the drawings, his hand shakes because of the Parkinson's. So what he tells himself is, the worse it is, like the shakier the drawing, the better it is, because the more vulnerable it actually is. So I'll move up here. From here, let's move up. Next lesson, and the card that he drew was the string of pearls. So I didn't know, I love this lesson. I didn't know I was actually doing it. So just brings more awareness. So he draws a string, and then there's a circle there, and then string, another circle, string goes on, there's another circle there. So each circle is like a pearl. Each one of the circles is an action. So for example, uh, let's see if I could demonstrate it here. So I count my blessings. So counting my blessings, watching the documentary, was already a win. 1.5 hours. Number two, journaling notes. That's what you're seeing here in the share screen. I'll go back to it, page two, right? Number three, I ate a salad. So I was eating chocolate, all this processed food stuff. So eating that salad takes effort, and that's actually like, eat clean food. That's actually a detox for my body. So that's another win. That's another action as well. So it can be as small as getting out of bed that day. For some people, it's harder. Like for Stutz, who has Parkinson's, Jonah Hill, who's going through his mental, emotional challenges, just like I am. So I am the person who puts the next pearl, the next circle on that string. So every circle is equal. You don't have to look as doing this live here on StreamYard, on Real Talk Lifeline, like that is a huge thing. No, it's just one more action in the string of pearls. And then I like this too. He also says that every pearl, every circle there in the string of pearls has a dot, has like a dirty dot in it, as you could see here. And that black dot is like a third in the pearl. It's like shit or dirt in the pearl because it's not perfect. And Jonah Hill actually reframed it in a different way. He says, whenever something bad in his life happens, that black dot, when he looks at the string of pearls, he reminds himself that in that shit, that dark dot, there's actually a pearl around it, meaning there's something good. There's something good in it as well. So why? Uh, he talks about this idea, this concept called the perfect snapshot, aka the realm of illusion. People think like the snapshot is you fantasize about a perfect world moment. Maybe for Jonah Hill it was like winning an Oscar or like winning this great award as an actor like that in that moment. But the thing is the snapshot is very flat, two dimensional, doesn't have depth, right? It's not moving. It's like a perfect world moment. But people forget that in real life, there are three aspects of reality, which is pain, uncertainty, and constant work. Even in the perfect world moment, if someone says, Martin, look at you, you look good, perfect, all this, man, you $1 million round table, they don't see everything. They only see the pearl, the perfect snapshot, but they don't see everything, aspects of reality, which leads to the shadow. So the shadow, I love this idea. The shadow is this concept is the shadow is the version of myself that I don't want to show to the world. And in the documentary, Jonah Hill demonstrates, he shows that it was like the fat version of him, very insecure like that. So it's very hard accepting the shadow, but it will be hard for the rest of your life, especially if you don't accept it. Because by the way, everyone has a shadow. So what Stutz shared with Jonah Hill here was he said, talk to your shadow. Listen. Listen to your shadow. What's your shadow telling you? So your shadow wants to include him in your life. That's the point of the shadow. And the shadow also, let me get my notes here because I'm going through this with you guys in real time. So the shadow, they're also a beautiful part of you. So you can see that at the very bottom. They're actually part of your true self. So here's the thing, like here's the warning heads up. If you don't pay attention, the shadow will make you do self-destructive behavior. I've personally experienced that. So just the awareness of understanding your shadow is a very, very, very helpful tool already on its own. So let's move forward. Page 3. So the next one is the maze. So what is the maze? So the maze is a part of part X. So remember, part X is the part that limits us, blocks our evolution. That so the maze is, believe it was Jonah Hill or Stutz who said it's like a quest for justice. So here's the drawing, the card of it. So here's your life, and then as we go through life, there's some people who get stuck in the maze because there's something in the past. So it's something that happened already, and then we fixate on it. So maybe someone did us wrong. Um, we go through a breakup, a loss. Again, like you could have lost your brother, a member of the family, like that. Instead of moving forward, the maze gets us stuck here. So what could we do? What could we do if this happens? So the next card or tool here is called active love. So active love is imagine living in a loving universe. where you feel pure love. So love is just all around you. It's like emanating all around you. And if I can become one with that bastard, with this person, meaning this person who I feel like I hate, who I can't forgive, right? But if I can become one with this person, then I can love anybody. So that's the loving universe. If you can love your worst enemy, maybe even the person who like tried to kill you feels that way, then you can love anybody because that's the hardest thing, right, to do. Another tool is radical acceptance. So what's radical acceptance? So you squeeze the juice out of it. So what does that mean? It's already uh, pure love is all around, right? We live in a loving universe. So you now have the will to do it. When you do that, when you radically accept it, everything starts to be more meaningful. Even the smallest thing. And on personal application, I started noticing this when I would count my blessings. And he has his own term for it here because some people would call that gratitude journaling. Tony Robbins would say, um, trade your expectations for appreciation, and your whole life changes in that moment. So, what Stutz explained here was here, this drawing in the bottom left part. So, the black cloud, right? When we see everything, the black cloud is like life sucks, it's dark, it's not good, never gonna get better, like that. He had this moment when they were going up in a plane. He didn't believe his dad. He said, "When we break through the clouds, the sun is gonna be above it." He was a kid this time, so he's like, "Yeah, right. Like, never, right? How can that be true? The cloud is dark. There's storms like that. It's scary." True enough, when the plane went up, broke through the clouds up here, clear sky, the sun. So how do we do that? He calls it the grateful flow. So when you go through that, the way to break through the black cloud is through gratefulness. Again, just like the other alliance, right? Gratitude. Trade your expectation for appreciation. Your whole life will change in that moment. So this is interesting. Stutz said this to Jonah Hill because he asked him, "What if you didn't have Parkinson's? Or what happened to you when you got Parkinson's?" So when he got it, he said that his life actually changed, and maybe this part of his life wouldn't have happened because he said, "Every time I get pushed down and crushed, I seem to get more information." So the reason why Stutz made all these tools, all this stuff, these realizations, these lessons, was because of it. When he got crushed by Parkinson's, pushed down like that. So what he also says here is if it's shaky, it's even better. Again, talking about his Parkinson's. Because when you get through it, you still do it, you become unstoppable. Even like whatever's happening to you, you're still moving forward. So that's it just adds to it the whole radical acceptance, active love like that instead of getting stuck in the maze. The maze could be a disease, it could be pain, it could be suffering like that. Next page. So we're getting closer. Ready? So there was this scene where there's a photo of Jonah Hill, and then it was the moment where he had a breakthrough. So what it was like the hardest day of his therapy session. He got through it. I believe it was the time where his brother passed away, or he mentioned something like that in the documentary. So Stutz said to Jonah Hill, "That's the picture of someone who went through hell and came out the other side okay." In a very non-dramatic way. So you could see it very subtle in the face when you watch the documentary. Again, you have to look a little deeper or closely. So you could actually sense that in a person's face. So what happens when you go through that through hell, right? So there's this next tool called loss processing. Loss processing. So what is this? Loss processing is when someone goes through a loss, a breakup, loss of a loved one. It could be your dog. It could be anything. Maybe you lost your job, right? Maybe there's something else in your life that was very meaningful to you, and then you lost it, right? So most people are bad at it. They're bad at loss processing. So what can we do? So pick out something you're attached to. It's scary. You're afraid to let go. It can be anything. It can be money. It could be your job, your career. It could be a lover. It could be a family member. Anything. Motorcycle. Something. Anything to you that you're attached to. Again, it could be your ex-wife. It could be a friend, right? So if you let go of it, the feeling is that something terrible is going to happen. So the drawing, the card that Stutz said is, imagine you're hanging onto a branch of a tree, and this is what it feels like. So the way to go through loss processing is let go of the branch and say, I'm willing to lose everything. Everything. And you'll start to free fall down. And it's not what you think. You're not falling down that fast, that crazy. It's actually kind of slow, maybe even gentle. And then you fall down. And you're falling down towards a sun below, actually. So it's not a cliff, it's not like a pit or anything, it's a sun. And you're starting to fall into it. And what happens is you feel the warmth. You feel some radiating love off of it, the sun. And your body dissolves, you're melting into the sun. And you start to notice other suns all around you. And then you hear them say, we are everywhere. In the sun world, all you can do is give. That's the feeling. So why did he share this? He says it's like moving towards non-attachment. Now this is very subtle, very nuanced. Jonah Hill asked, why can't we just be not attached? Totally or that. Uh, Stutz said that's actually not really a good thing for humans. Because it's human, for a human, we're not capable of becoming totally non-attached. So just moving towards non-attachment, that's the focus or that's the goal of this. Again, sometimes there are good parts of it, right? So family, there's a time where attachment could be a good thing, taking care of someone like that. But we just move towards non-attachment. That's the part of the healing process of loss processing. So we're going to the last page already here. All right. So page 5, my notes. He says, death is not a permanent condition. So I love this because most people, that's their belief, right? After death, nothing. And I get it. I get why he said, Stutz said this. Death is not a permanent condition as long as there is rebirth. So again, no mention of any religion or whatever like that. But I understood this. If someone believes that death, let's say loss, something like that, the end of something is permanent, then your life is doomed, right? No hope. That's it, right? So I love that he mentioned as long as there is rebirth. And rebirth happens, what I'm realizing, it can happen every day or in the smallest of moments. So I'll move on to towards the ending of what Jonah Hill said. Jonah Hill said, I used to think that the people I look up to are absolved of the problems that I have. And started laughing. He was just laughing at that. And he said, it's absurd. You're laughing, I know. So what Jonah Hill realized was you are still in the struggle and in the fight of being a human, just like everybody else is. Because you could see Stutz, his therapist, who's old, he's going through pain also. Just like Jonah Hill, who's in his 30s, right? So we're never exempt from the pain, the uncertainty, or the constant work. the three aspects of reality. And I love how he shared that because it makes me more understanding of every other person in this house, maybe in the office when I go out there, someone. They're also going through pain, through uncertainty, or constant work. So that was like the biggest bitch slap to my face. Because if someone says you're lazy, motherfucker, that person also goes through constant work just like you, fuck face. So sorry, godmother, please pray for me. I love you. And and then Stutz mentioned again towards the ending, because he was going through his Parkinson's. He said, "This is the real challenge for me to get out of bed." So for some people, literally, physically, uh, it's so painful. It's so challenging just to get out of bed. Jonah Hill in his 30s, like me, again, it could be maybe through for different reasons: anxiety, depression, something else, mental, emotional, a different challenge in life. But it's real. Again, some people, their cases are more severe. They're clinically diagnosed. They're on heavy meds like that. Again, I'm not discounting that. So everybody goes through it in different degrees, right? Last part. Why? So why? Why did Jonah Hill make this movie after everything he's been through with Stutz? Right? So he said the technical part first was because I want to give therapy and the tools, just like what we've learned in this live, right, to as many people as possible. I shared my notes on my profile, on my stories like that. At least two people found it useful already. For me, I'm good. I'm good already. I'm at peace. He paused for a bit, and then he changed from that like technical answer to because I love you, Phil. He loves Phil Stutz, his therapist. So that was the more heart reason, the more human felt reason for it, because that was also part of Phil Stutz's therapist's vision or legacy that he wanted before he died. And then he said, I love this ender. To do this, whether it works out or not. So what Jonah Hill said, this line for him was speaking to Studs was, and it doesn't matter what people think about. It just matters that we finished it together. That line hits me because it's like me doing this live. We're not thinking of approval anymore. It helped him. It helped his life. I really appreciated this documentary. So shout out to Mark. I believe it was just this month where he suggested it to me. I don't really watch shows like Netflix, all that. So Mark Beltran, my friend, he suggested it to me, and I trust him. I trust this guy. He's my ice bath teacher. You know, doing healing work together. So I got so curious. I was like, let me watch. I want to watch it with my brother also, and it just took me until yesterday, December 29th, to finally get to watch it. And I'm sharing with you the best lessons that hit me. Ironically, in the end, this line show the cross. It said dedicated to our brothers. Ironically, I watched it with mine. When you watch the documentary, Stutz, he lost his brother when his brother was just 3 years old. So to like a rare disease. And then Jonah Hill, his brother passed away just some years ago. But this is also dedicated to all the other brothers and sisters out there who are going through this, just like what I'm going through, maybe what you're going through as well. I hope you found something useful from this. So I'm gonna stop the sharing. Back to me again here in StreamYard. I hope you found something useful from this. You can those watching the live or the replay, you can comment down below. I'll try to update the description with timestamps. But again, this is a walkthrough version of all of the notes I literally wrote down. As in, literally wrote down here in my uh, notepad. So thank you. I love you, and I will see you next time.